The original Canon 5D Classic, the mirror will come off of this camera. The original 5D Classic, the mirror, the adhesive was not good enough to hold the mirror, so it's gonna fall off. I will show you in this video how to fix that mirror yourself. Do not pay for somebody else to do it. If you're confident with materials, if you're confident, you can do this. So how this happened, I was thrifting downtown Los Angeles, having a good old time. Now, I don't really care how many images I take. I use a CF card, so I'm clanging away, making beautiful images with those wonderful Canon colors, couple of selfies, having a good time, take my camera everywhere. This picture of Biggie Smalls, found it in a thrift store, absolutely beautiful. The day was going wonderfully. I was having solid, good vibes. And then, clang, the worst happened. I heard that horrible sound and I knew the mirror had become dislodged from the camera. So I squirreled around like a crazy squirrel looking for this mirror inside. I removed the lens nice and carefully, totally carefully, and to my delight, I found the mirror. Now, this is not a complicated fix. This is what the body will look like without the mirror in place. Now, this is what it should look like with the mirror. You can see clearly the mirror is stuck to that housing, that bracket. Now, I can show you how to make the mirror stick back onto this plastic body. And that's all it is a piece of mirror that needs to stick back to this plastic backing. Very, very simply with materials you can get from a DIY store. Now here you go. The mirror simply sits in this housing. Behind there you can see the sensor itself. So you want to make sure not to drop any glue, any debris, any detritus, which is a great word, behind there. Now this is the mirror, the rear of the mirror, and you can see those 4 black dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where you're going to place your adhesive. That's where you're going to put your glue. That's where the glue was previously on those locations. And the glue back then that Canon used didn't do the job that it should have. So they replaced it. They did a replacement, but you're not going to get that. So we're going to do it ourselves. Now here is how the mirror fits. I use a nice, easy pair of, those are called hemostats. Those are a medical item. But you use a delicate pair of pliers. I wrap gaff tape on them so I can hold that mirror in place when I'm going to just drop it in there. But you can use anything, tweezers. I just use that paper tape, that gaff tape, to make sure I don't scratch the mirror itself. And this is kind of how the mirror just fits in. Once the glue's on, you're just going to drop it in place. Now I'm going to show you how to glue this, and it kind of just sits like that. But we'll have another deep look at how that actually works. Don't worry, it's simple. Yes, you could buy yourself a new housing and have someone replace the mirror, replace the housing, do all that stuff for you. Now, this is one that I saw on eBay, but that's going to be very expensive. Bearing in mind, these cameras cost around $200 just for this housing, just for this new housing and mirror assembly. It's about 120 bucks. So I would recommend doing this fix yourself if you're confident, if you know how to use super glue, etc. That's the best plan. Now, this is the rear of the mirror itself. You can see that plastic backing, but when you look closely, that's when you see those 4 areas that you're going to place your adhesive. This is me using my fingers, but I'm going to clean the mirror later. That backing is actually loose, but you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 little spots where we're just going to place a small amount of Loctite or whatever glue you like to use that's super strong. Google that, but I like to use Loctite. That's my favorite one. It's about $5 from Lowe's or Ace Hardware. This is the one that I use on all my camera equipment. Precision control. It dries nice and quickly. And I like the bottle that this comes in. It's super easy to use and it's easy to control. You'll see in a second when I can just rip it out of this packaging. Why is the packaging always so tough? Easy peasy. Those little side handles on this bottle makes it easy for me to squeeze just a very small amount onto the areas I need without over saturating the mirror with glue. Otherwise, you're going to need to buy a new one on eBay. Now, if you do need to buy a new mirror, you can get them on eBay. So this is just me gently applying, ever so gently, just a little dab of that glue to each area which previously had adhesive. I'm not going to remove that adhesive. It's like a bumper. So I'm just going to gently place my Loctite glue on top where the glue was previously. And I'm going to leave it for a few seconds. Now I'm going to make sure to not drop any super glue or dust behind the mirror housing, because obviously that's where the sensor is and you don't want to destroy that sensor. So this is what I've done. I've placed my super glue on the rear of the mirror. It's dried for a few seconds. I get my beautiful tweezers or whatever I'm using wrapped in gaff tape so I don't scratch that mirror, and I'm just going to gently drop the mirror in place with the two wider spots, those two wider black spots at the front and the two close ones at the rear. And this just drops into place. This is where it came from. So it's just going to sit there nice and easily. Now I'm going to use my fingers just to put it exactly where it needs to go, and a little tap. Nothing too crazy. Don't put too much pressure on this mirror. It sits in place where it was originally designed to go. And it makes sense when you do it. Do it without the glue first of all, and you'll get what I mean. Now I'm going to just use these Optic Clean professional lens cleaning tissues just to gently press down on that mirror to make sure it sits in the housing. Now I'm going to use that actual lens tissue to make sure that I don't scratch the mirror again. It doesn't matter too much if you do scratch it. I mean, you could just get another one, but you don't want to, because you'll have to replace that whole housing for 130 bucks. And that's not something that we want to do. So I'm just giving it a little clean, and it won't move around, or it shouldn't move around that much, because the super glue dries very quickly, one, and two, I'm not applying too much pressure to that mirror itself. Now from there, you're done, you guys. Job done. Put the camera somewhere safe, easy peasy, and all you're going to do is follow the drying instructions. For me on this particular Loctite, it's a simple task. I'm going to wait for it to dry for approximately 4 hours. And we're good to go. After the 4 hours, guess what? Good vibes. The camera worked. I'm a happy boy. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys on the next one.